Colin Arnold.
Do you hear anything?
No, but
I don't hear anything.
can you hear
me?
anything from PC2?
Yeah, I can hear Colin fine. This is Leatrice. He's coming across fine on my end.
No, don't turn that on. It's gonna.
Colin, can we do a mic check?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Did that go through everyone?
Yeah, we can hear you at box 8 perfectly fine.
Okay. Okay, great, great. Thank you so much. Sophie, Emma, Carly, can you all hear?
Yes, ma'am, loud and clear.
Okay, we can go on, Colin.
All right. Thanks for the opportunity to brief you on kind of what's the latest developments this afternoon. Obviously, it's been a long day. It's been a very interesting day. I would say what I've seen from a lot of your reporting is pretty unprecedented. We here at City Hall have at least 6 inches of snow that we've measured. We're starting to think that with the Weather Service that possibly 5 to 7 inches, maybe even a little bit more. It does seem to be gradually starting to let up a little bit in areas. We're still anticipating that somewhere between 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. the snow will eventually end. We're concerned about the next 2 days. Quite frankly, tomorrow will be another day where schools are closed, government's closed. We're still encouraging people to stay home. We're going to have to evaluate Thursday. We're talking about possibly, having a late arrival. We're going to have to see how that goes because what we are seeing is that the continued temperatures being below freezing over the next day and a half, the snow that we have is not really going to go anywhere. And in fact, probably start to become, ice. And so that could be very difficult for our roadways. We recently just sent out 14 snow plows, a vendor that we found from Indiana. They are going to start with clearing the Crescent City connection, the 90 Expressway, and then we're going to start moving to critical transportation arteries and streets within the city, particularly 2-lane/Airline to get out towards University Medical Center. And we're just going to continue from there. The plan up here, the EOC is developing maps of areas to clear up. A lot of those are going to center around hospitals and critical facilities. We're going to continue to work through that. Very appreciative of this company coming in to assist us. They're also, we've been in contact with the DOTD, and so we're going to continue to now plow salt roads where we can, along with DOTD. We've got a lot of sand. We'll be sanding roads as soon as we can get them clear. At this point, with this amount of snow, I would say the difference between our 2014 event that we've worked off of was mainly an ice event. This is a snow event, which is completely different than I think what most of us have experienced before. And so I think what I would tell the public right now is this is a marathon, not a sprint. And that the next couple of days there's going to be a lot of recovery from this, just as far as roadways, and to be patient as possible with each other and with us as we start to really tonight, overnight, and tomorrow really start to plow and try and address these areas. With that, on the human services side, we continue to have Rosenwald as a warming center. And shelter, quite frankly, it's at capacity. So this afternoon we did open up Tremay Center, another rec center, thanks to NOHSEP. We're able to open that up. They both have backup power generators on them. We haven't had to use them. Power has been quite stable today. We have not seen a significant amount of power outages, no more than any other day of what we would call blue sky day, where nothing's going on. So there have been some intermittent power outages here and there, but nothing of any significant number to report on that front. Also from the utility side, Sewage and Water Board, we're not hearing anything about increased water demand or any water issues going on. I will say that the longer we are under these 32 degrees and in this freeze, when it starts to get to 48 to 60 hours of time below freezing, I would anticipate that we'll start to see, pipes breaking and different things that happen during some of these extreme cold events. And so that's where we're at right now on the human services front. We've been in contact very frequently with the state's operation, their transition shelter they've been running. And I have nothing to report from there. And I think that they would be the best to discuss, anything that they have going on now. We have agreed that, should something happen or, power outages and the like, that we would work with them with our rec centers to provide an alternative location should that become necessary. Thus far, it has not. With that, the Emergency Operations Center is active. We'll be active 24/7 throughout this. As I said, Wednesday we're closed as far as the city services, other than essential services, and schools as well. And then we'll be reevaluating for exactly where we're going to be on Thursday. With that, that's kind of the updates that I have right now. I think the most significant update is we do have plowing operations for the first time that I can recall, snow plowing operations throughout that are working. They're going to work throughout the city. And so I'll stand for any questions that you might have.
Okay, great. We will, thank you so much, Colin. After the one round of questions to Max, Colin will do a summary of any additional information he would like to add after hearing what you all have to say. We'll start with Fox 8.
Okay, are we starting with Fox 8?
Yeah.
Yes, we are starting with Fox 8.
Okay, I'm just trying to get an idea of when did the plan go in place to get plows, given that we know that these storms, there was a warning about the storms coming for several days, if not a couple of weeks back. When was the plan in place? Did you have a plan in place to get plows, and how long do you think it's going to take to clear these critical arteries?
We started working on acquiring snowplow services several days ago. We were not successful in actually finding them anywhere within a reasonable distance. This actually came to us this morning. A company essentially started working down towards this area through Mississippi. We were put into contact with them, did the background on them. We've entered into an emergency procurement with them, and they're here to help, and we're here to utilize that assistance. And this is new for all of us as far as actually plowing. But I will add that the salting and sanding was going on frequently until the snow just overtook the capacity. At some point, enough snow falls that sand and ice are not they're not doing anything. It just becomes the snow overwhelms that type of operation. So I think having the plowing available to us now is going to be great over the next day or two.
And Colin, you talked about the dangerous conditions that can happen once the snow starts to melt and that ice gets on those roads, and reminding people out there to make sure that you stay off the roads because it can be very dangerous. What are you guys doing to handle that situation? Again, I know you're salting the roads and everything. Is this going to be a continuous process? Or are you going to be doing this every day? Like, what does that look like?
I mean, we're going to continue this 24/7 until we have a handle on it, or, and if we need to, go and find more resources, we're going to do that. We're going to do whatever it takes. What I will say is that, law enforcement and DOTD, both, the state and PD, leaned forward very quickly at 4 a.m. and started closing off a lot of the interstates and the major expressways and interstates in the area. And I think that that's made a huge difference. We haven't had traffic accidents. We haven't had a lot of people stuck on interstates. It's been very quiet. But quite frankly, the reason why this has been successful today is because of the public. And I'm forever appreciative of the public for listening to us. We say it during hurricane season to shelter in place. People do. And look, this is probably a once in a lifetime event for all of us. And we ask people to stay home, stay warm, and stay together and stay ready. And they did, and they have, but it's not over yet. My fear is, a little bit of complacency I've seen a lot of the media today. People are having a good time and they're really enjoying this. Just as far as something that is something we are going to see once maybe to this magnitude, but once that snow stops and the sky clears up, it's not over by any means, and we still need people to hunker down and shelter in place and stay home to the greatest extent possible and really stay off the road with vehicles, because really at that point, a lot of this snow that's on the ground is going to get compacted. It's going to get blown around in frigid air, and it's going to become ice on the roadways. And so that's where, you know, continuing to now plow and then continuing salt and sand is going to be our way to get back to a normal transportation type status.
Okay,
Great.
thank you.
WWL is next.
Hey, Colin.
Hey,
Hey, David Hammer. What's the name of this company from Indiana? And can you be a little more specific about deployment, like the routes and everything of where the plows are going to go?
I really can't be specific about the routes because we're developing them now as we go. But I can tell you that the priority, as I mentioned, was Crescent City Connection, 90 Expressway, and then the on and off ramps to those, and then moving towards 2-lane to Airline, making the access to University Medical Center, which is the level 1 trauma center for the entire region, as accessible as possible. And then we're going to start focusing on the streets that you would imagine, critical transportation corridors, Canal, Claiborne, Broad, up to Carrollton. And then we've got some requests from Jefferson Parish to assist out near East Jeff. We're going to do that. We've got some requests at the airport. We're going to do that. And so this is going to be a continuous thing. We've also given the company all of our police districts, and they're coordinating with NOPD, and they'll begin plowing critical streets within each police district according to what NOPD believes is the best plan from a safety and security standpoint. So that's kind of the attack that we're doing right now. I'm going to turn my head to get the company's name. They're out of Indiana, Sheridan, Indiana, and their name is Sherco Group Incorporated. SHERCO Group Incorporated. And we're routing emergency procurement documentation for that now.
Anything else, David?
No, I'm all set. Thank you.
Okay, great. Anyone on from WDSU? Okay, we'll move on to Ben Myers.
Yeah, can you tell us what exactly DOTD is doing in as many specifics as you can? For example, do they have a certain number of trucks here, and what are those trucks doing versus what Sherco is doing?
They're doing sanding and mainly salt and salt brine, but that battle, if you will, was kind of starting to taper off. I won't say fail. They did everything they could to keep these things open, but as the snow really increased and started really, accumulating on the ground, there's a point where salt just doesn't work. And so I know that they are working with neighboring states through assistance collaboratives with both Texas and Arkansas to bring in more resources, particularly if they can, snowplow resources. Like I said, this company was made available to us. I have been in touch frequently throughout the day-to-day with Scott Boyle. He will actually provide this company salt once their trucks start running out of salt, because these are snowplow trucks that also spread salt, so they plow and salt at the same time. He's going to provide them salt from his yard in Bridge City, and we're going to continue that and mutually work together on a state local level to address state roads, local roads, because as we all know, everything runs into each other, and we all are engaged in the same fight right now.
Okay, so I hear you saying that basically the plows are at this point exclusively provided by Shareco, but there's a possibility that more may come through the state's work with others.
That's correct. I spoke to my counterpart in Lake Charles this morning, and he had Arkansas snowplows working through there. They had a blizzard warning this morning as well. And I would imagine as this storm moves from west to east, so will many of the state resources as they are working right behind the storm.
Okay, and real quick, just based on the forecast, the temperature forecast over the next couple of days, are you in a place where you can offer like an estimate perhaps as to when the roads will generally start to feel dry and drivable again?
Thursday afternoon, we're well above 40 degrees, and I think that the snow will start rapidly diminishing after that.
And
Okay,
issue
Ben,
is
Ben, let's get,
okay, sorry.
go ahead. Colin.
That's good.
sorry. My issue is that Thursday may be a flux day, if you know what I mean, where people are expecting to come in en masse in the morning and afternoon, and it may not work out that way. So I really want to see about Thursday first.
Yeah. Thank
Okay,
you.
great. I see that WDSU joined. WDSU, do you have a question? Okay, next up, Carly Wells.
Hi, Colin. Yeah, so the contract, you said you're doing an emergency procurement. Do you have the details for that contract? How long is the timeline and how much is that contract for?
It's $500 per hour per truck. We're anticipating about $168,000 for 24 hours of work with 14 trucks. We're hoping to have this done in 24 hours, but I'm giving some wiggle room there that it may be 2 days, it may be 48 hours.
And does that include staffing? Like, did Shareco send drivers?
Yes, it's all staffed. We are providing them lodging and food.
Okay, thank you. And Jefferson Parish is already asking people to conserve non-essential water. You said that Sewage and Water Board hasn't done that yet. Do you think that's something that may happen in the next 24 hours?
I mean, I think as a practice, it's a good idea to do that anyway. Typically, people use their most water demand is in the morning, washing dishes, showers, cooking, laundry, and the like. I think that a good practice is to, when we're in a situation like this, is to minimize it as much as possible if you can, or spread it out throughout the day, just to allow in the morning for the pumps to replenish the water system that was probably used overnight by 300,000 customers potentially dripping water through faucets. But when we do get that word from Sewage and Water Board, we broadcast it through NOLA Ready far and wide to make sure that people understand that. I think it's a good practice all the way around.
Okay, thank you, Colin. Next would be Sophie Kazikoff, the advocate.
I'm wondering how many beds are available at the Treme Rec Center, Colin, and also can you tell us whether people are still able to get transportation to the emergency warming centers, or is that no longer possible?
I would recommend people call 311 if they need transportation. We are still able to manage a limited amount of that through RTA Paratransit, realizing the RTA has secured their transportation en masse since last night because of the road conditions. But we are still able to move people as needed if they need assistance. And I've heard of nothing right now that is precluding anyone from getting there. And I'll get back to you on the number, how many are available, because I don't have a minute-to-minute tally for Treme right now. I would add too that I have 2 more rec centers that are available with generators in case we need them.
Okay, Katie, you're up next.
I have no questions. Thank you so much.
Okay, Katie. Lauren, do we have a Lauren Watt on the line? And there's someone that logged in as D-Post, D-P-O-S-T. No questions? One more person, SpacNet.
I think David had a follow-up, Latrice.
Okay, yeah, I'm giving everyone one
sorry.
question. Yeah, one list, and then we can come back if you like for David. So no for Lauren, and someone logged on by the name of SPAC, S-P-A-C-K net, N-E-T-T. Okay, great. David? You said you had another question?
Yeah, thank you. Real quick, Colin, we're getting some questions from folks about whether there's any kind of danger of a certain amount of accumulation on roofs causing anything to collapse. Do you know anything about that? Like, are there concerns about how much roofs can handle?
Not an engineer. I think it's a valid concern to a certain extent. I will say, this snow, it's not significantly wet. So from what I've been hearing from National Weather Service, it's pretty dry and powdery. I think there obviously will be a weight component to it. What I would say is, for people to just use caution and to do the best they can over the next day to try and mitigate what they can. But I certainly do understand that concern.
Okay, David, thank you so much. And Ben, I think you had one more.
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, great. Colin, anything else you'd like to add before we wrap this up?
No, I just appreciate everyone, the questions. I hope I've provided enough information. This is a very unique situation, and it's another one for the books. But we're going to continue as we identify gaps and resources that we need. We're gonna work to address them and find them. I think the main top line that I'd like to try and communicate to the public is it's been a very unique day, and I've seen a lot of people outside having a good time, and that I just don't want the headache of this in the next 2 days. I think will be something that we're going to need to address, and we're going to do the best we can to do that. I just want to manage expectations. We just want people to be safe, and we're going to get the roads as clear as possible as soon as possible.
And one last time, I'm sorry, did we miss anyone?
I just had one more question I wanted to follow up. It's Liz with Fox 8.
Go ahead, Liz.
Carlin, so many businesses are really waiting until those roads are open to say it's okay to reopen because they need their workers back. But obviously, you can't get your workers in if they too are traveling on those same roads that are not passable. So what would you say at this hour to businesses wondering when they would be able to reopen? Because they're relying on their workers, really. And I know you're saying Thursday. So
I think at some point Thursday is realistic. But again, I think this is unprecedented. I know tomorrow is out. Thursday will be a very a priority for us to try and get back to normal. Whether that's going to be possible, I know I ask for patience a lot from everyone, but just realize this is something that is not usual for this area, and so we're going to do everything we can. I think Thursday, at some point during the day, we'll be able to kind of look at this and say, all right, I think we're getting in the clear.
Great. Thank you all so much for logging in, and we will definitely make notification regarding the next